You're not lazy. You're not failing. You're just trying to work a system that wasn't built for the life that you're living. Y'all, if you feel like your brain is spinning with all of the things, you've got deadlines, you've got dinners, you've got doctor's appointments in your planner, it is so full, and yet nothing feels like it's getting done. If that's you, I'm going to show you the first part of my flow planning system, which is about focus blocks. And this is a way to stop fighting the chaos and start planning in a way that matches your energy, your season, and your values. Because you deserve a system that helps you get things done without losing yourself in the process. Hi, y'all. I'm Dr. Danielle McGeough. I'm the founder of Plan Go Plan, and I have a PhD in communication and media. And I've spent over a decade researching how creative communication can solve complex problems and spark personal transformation. Today, I help high achieving women who from the outside look like they have it all together, but on the inside, they feel like something's missing. I help them build a life that feels just as good on the inside as it appears to others on the outside. I use mindful planning and holistic women-centered goal setting to help you be bold at work and present at home. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the first piece of my flow method, which is focus blocks. And so this is part of a larger system, which is my plan, goal, plan system. Something that makes plan, goal, plan a little bit different than other approaches to productivity or time management is like, one, I center your well-being. Two, I actually believe that you should plan first. So I help people create rituals of transformation using my RISE ritual method. And through the process of creating a foundation for planning and a ritual that is a container for your own transformation, then we move into goal setting. And the reason for that is I so often find that women, especially when they're in like maybe mid 30s to early 50s, after years and years of taking care of everyone else at home, at work, everywhere, right? I find that what happens is we've kind of dissociated from ourselves. We aren't exactly sure what it is that we like anymore. And it's not really our fault. I mean, we've just been very other oriented, which is absolutely beautiful to care so much about other people and to be able to read other people and other people's needs. But because of that, if you just jump into goal setting with women, what I notice is that they immediately set should goals. And so I work people through a process where they really get to know themselves, who they want to be, they connect to their future self. And then from there, we're going to break down those goals using my GRIP method and then move into planning at a more optimized level. So we plan, we set goals, and then we plan again for optimization. And a huge part of that is my FLOW method. On a high level, FLOW stands for focus blocks. That's what we're going to dig into today. Lists with intentions. No more of those super ongoing lists that never end, but really lists that also help you learn prioritization. And that's connected to the O, which is own your top 3. This is where we're going to put some daily practices in place where you have clarity and you connect to your values before we end up with W, which is work the plan gently. I believe that planning and goal setting should be fun. It shouldn't add pressure to your already pressure-filled life. It should feel cozy. It should feel like self-care. And I really believe that planning isn't just time management. Planning is personal development. So we're going to zero in, we're going to focus on this first piece of my FLOW method, which is focus blocks. Because what I notice working with clients, working with students, I'm a professor, so like I do professory things. And what I really notice is that oftentimes we might resist engaging in planning because it feels incredibly rigid. And then we feel like, well, it doesn't work. I plan and nothing ever goes as planned. Well, one, I would sort of say we don't necessarily plan so that things can go exactly the way that we plan, but we plan for the clarity that it brings to us. So I do believe that planning matters even when it doesn't go as planned. But the problem is that so many of these systems are so rigid that they don't recognize that the realities of our life is that like our life is all wonky. Life is wild, banana pants, chaos, especially if you're a parent and you're hauling kids all over the place. And I don't know, there's like bloody noses and nurses calling. My son just ran into a wall the other week. I thought that there'd be a good story with it. The nurse called and she's like, oh, your son ran into a wall. I'm like, is he okay? Yeah. And I thought there'd be a good story to it. There wasn't. he just ran into a wall. Our lives are banana pants. They're weird, right? And so we need a system for planning that is as flexible and wonky as our lives, while also still offering us a little bit of order to all this chaos. And so what I really like about focus blocks is that they're zones. I like to think of them as almost like containers for different times of our day. And you build these containers. What goes into those containers is really based off of your energy, your life, like what's going on, as well as your goals. You let your goals really determine too what sorts of things go into this. So this is a shift that is pretty small for a lot of people, but it's one that can create loads of momentum without that burnout. So we're going to break down what are focus blocks, what are they really, and how can you start using them to bring that clarity to your week. So they are intentional time zones that you create across your week, and they aren't rigid. They aren't these hour-to-hour slots. Instead, they're categories of time that reflect the kind of energy and mindset that you need to bring to each part of your day. I teach 4 different blocks in my flow system. The first is focus time, and this is deep work. It's strategic, it's meaningful, it's high-impact tasks. It's where you're doing problem solving, making decisions, or doing the work that really moves the needle. So one of my roles at the university is I run a theater, and I oftentimes then think in theater terms. I think of focus time as almost that it's performance time. It's go time. It's, where you are on. So actually like making this video is part of what is happening in my focus time block today. So right now it is 10:17. For me, that 9 to noon time is where like my brain is still on. I'm a little more awake. I'm a little more focused. And it's like when I can get it done. By this afternoon, I'm going to be mush, right? So right now is a really good focus work time for me. So if I need to be in front of people, this is a really good time for me. If this is a time where I need to make a really big decision, my brain is oftentimes really clear right now. So what happens in that focus time is going to vary from day to day, but my 9 to noon is always going to be my focus time. The second time block that I recommend is flow time. And I don't mean flow in a really technical sense here. I've been rereading Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. My buddy Gary, who was friends with Mihaly before he passed, calls him Mike. So I'm going to say, in Flow, written by Mike, his work around flow isn't exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't really want to confuse you. I think flow is absolutely amazing. And that actually doing a lot of the things that I'm suggesting here can help you activate flow states. But what I'm really talking about with flow time is that it is your creative space. It might be where you're brainstorming or journaling or doing that like more visionary work, where like the focus time is usually a little bit more granular, a little more implementation heavy, where flow time is where you're really tapping into intuition and curiosity. There might be like a sense of play. So for me personally, I'm a morning person. I love flipping mornings. It's quiet. Nobody can bother me. And it can be a good time for focus time for me too. But I find that when I first wake up, my brain is actually in this really visionary space, and that it's a really good place for me to do some curious work. And it's more like learning and big picture thinking for me. And so I really, really like that flow time for me. That happens usually between like 4 and 7 in the morning before I shift into getting my kids ready for school. Again, what I do in that flow time isn't necessarily the same day to day to day to day, but the sort of work that I'm doing often is. And then the third focus block is around admin time. This is where I might do email, I might run errands, I might do just planning logistics, a digital cleanup. These are necessary but low lift tasks that don't necessarily require peak brain power. For me, afternoons is a great time for admin time. I also might, for example, I do a lot more admin work on a Friday afternoon than I would on a Monday afternoon, because usually I am like, I'm feeling the week, y'all. So that's why I might have a little bit of admin time every single day, but I might also have more admin time at the end of the week than I would at the beginning of the week when I still have that go get 'em energy. So the fourth core block that I want to talk to you about is anchor time. And this is really grounding time. This might be where you have meals with your family. This is anything that grounds you. So for me, that's exercise, it's movement, it is some of my family rituals. It's like those personal things that keep you centered. I usually do most of these 4 p.m. onward. A lot of times at 4 p.m., that's when I do my exercise. So I pick up my kids from school while they're still playing after school with the neighbor kids. I get in a quick workout. Then we prepare our meals. We always eat together. We might have kids' activities or something like that during this time as well. After 8 o'clock, I am reading a book and hanging out with my family. Now, sometimes what I notice working with people, they need that anchor time both in the morning and a little bit at night. So if you're someone who wakes up and you don't have like wild brain like I do, you might need to have a little bit of grounding time in your mornings as well. And I will say, like, I do have a personal ritual that I perform every single morning using my Rise Ritual method. It is the ritual that really grounds me, centers me, reminds me of who am I becoming? What are the goals that I've set? How am I making sure that I'm going to show up today as my future self that move in a way that moves me towards those goals? And so I do use a little bit of that anchor time in the morning before I move into flow time. Then I have focus time, and then I have admin time. And what I would also say is that I don't necessarily need to have all of these blocks every single day. So if you're wondering, okay, Danielle, you've got focus time, you got flow time, you got admin time, you have anchor time, but how the heck do I use them? Okay, so we're going to get into this just a little bit. What I like to do is I like to have a weekly planning sesh. And most people, I think Laura Vanderkam talks about having a weekly planning sesh, and that most people, she surveyed people, tend to like to do that Friday afternoons, Sunday evenings, or Monday morning. I don't care what you choose as long as you know when you're going to do it and are mostly consistent with it. I like to plan for Sunday afternoon, and then if I don't do it Sunday afternoon, I can do it Sunday evening. And if I don't do it Sunday evening, I still have Monday morning. And so I like to plan a lot of backup times. But during this time, that's where I plan out the next week, but I'm also reflecting on my previous week. So I review, I reflect, and then I react. When I'm reacting, that's when I enact my flow planning system. And I look at the next week and I assign blocks to each part of the day. And so, like I said, my mornings might consistently include focus time with afternoons that lean towards admin time. But that's where I also might get a little bit more granular and go, okay, this is my focus time. What is the one thing that I need to get done during that focus time? This is my flow time. What is the creative work that I need to be doing then? What is the problem that I'm trying to work through? What is it that I'm trying to connect with during my anchor time? That's really important. So I try to keep my pattern blocks as consistent as possible from week to week, but then like what I'm doing within those pattern times can have some flexibility. And I think that's really important too, because life does get lifey, right? You have a work week that's totally wonky, right? And you need a method that helps you stay flexible, but then still feel like you have this rhythm. And what I love about the power of focus blocks is that they give you structure without the pressure. They let you honor your energy while staying anchored to your goals. So now that you know what focus blocks are and how I plan my week with them, I want to walk you through a quick example of how you might use this in your own weekly planning. And I'm a huge, huge fan of asking potent questions. I think that the questions that we ask ourselves are some of the most powerful ways for us to actually level up what planning actually is, so that it goes beyond time management into that personal development, into that way that it's not just about, not feeling frazzled with time and getting crap done. It's about legitimately crafting a life that you love and helping you become the person that you want to become. So I want you to start by asking yourself some questions. One of my favorite questions is, when do you feel the most mentally alert or energized? This is a great time for focus time. Ask yourself, when does your brain need a little space to wander or to create? That's your flow time. I flipping love flow time. It's probably my favorite block. When do you need to handle logistics or just tie up loose ends? That's your admin time. And when do you want to unplug and ground yourself? That's your anchor time. So You want to think through those things, those questions. When do you feel mentally alert or energized? When do you need space to wander and create? When do you need to handle logistics and tie up loose ends? And when do you just need to unplug and ground yourself? And then from there, you can grab your planner or your digital calendar and you start assigning blocks to each part of your day for the week ahead. You don't have to be perfect. You're looking for a rhythm, right? So you might decide that Monday mornings and Wednesday afternoons are focus blocks while Friday afternoons are admin. The key is to really start with your energy, not your to-do list, and that's going to make a huge difference right from the get-go. So I've mentioned a couple of times that I have this larger plan, goal, plan system. Final plan, where you're really optimizing your planning skills now that you really know what your goals are and they're rooted in who you are and who you are becoming. You don't want to optimize for something that shouldn't exist in the first place, right? So the F.L.O.W planning system is really there to help you optimize. And if you're interested in my Plan Go Plan methodology, like one, you should check out the Plan Go Plan podcast. I have loads of episodes that are audio only there, but I'm going to start bringing more videos to you all here on YouTube. If you're looking for some support with this, you can also check out my Plan Go Planner Year course. I'll make sure that I link that in the comments. Your life is always going to be full. When you start planning with focus blocks, you stop reacting to the chaos and you start designing your days with intention. I flippin' love intentionality. And this is just like one part of the F.L.O.W planning system, right? We still have the L, that O, that W. So this is a really powerful first step. I want to leave you with a gentle challenge, okay? Before you start your week, I want you to just take 10 minutes to map out a few blocks. You don't have to be perfect. You just got to get started. And again, like if this resonated with you, I'd love for you to check out Plan Go Plan Your Year experience, where we go deeper into building a system that fits your actual life, not someone else's ideal schedule. Y'all, I have gone through so many courses. I've read a bajillion books. I've read research articles. And what I will say is I get so frustrated with these really rigid systems that like assume that everybody have the same life. We don't. But if you're feeling like, yeah, I need to create something that matches my life, but I also need a little bit of support, I want you to check it out. And if you're feeling like, yes, I need that kind of support, drop a comment below. Tell me the sort of things that you're like frustrated with when it comes to planning and goal setting. I want to know. And if you use focus blocks this week, tell me about it. Y'all, you don't have to do more to feel better, but I will tell you, if you have a rhythm that honors who you are, it's going to feel juicy. It's going to feel great. It's going to feel cozy. You've got this. Until next time, people, be balanced and be well, friends.